Hello, health seekers. How you doing? Your host, Sophia here. You know that moment when you pick up a dumbbell for the first time and a little voice in your head whispers, "Careful, what if you get too big?" Yeah, I've been there too. In fact, I used to tiptoe around the weight rack at the gym, convinced that one wrong move would leave me looking like a bodybuilder overnight. A spoiler alert, it did. And here's the truth. It never will. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. She's a yoga instructor, all grace and lean muscles, who swore she'd never touch weights because she didn't want to lose her femininity. Then one day, after months of watching her male clients get stronger while she plateaued, she hesitantly added a pair of 10-pound dumbbells to her routine. Fast forward a year, her arms are sculpted, her back is a work of art, and she's never felt more powerful. Or more herself. It turns out, she laughed, I didn't get bulky. I just stopped needing help to open jar. Here's the science your gym teacher probably didn't tell you. Women don't have enough testosterone to naturally bulk up like men. Those bodybuilders you see with massive muscles, they're training and eating specifically for that look. Often for years with precision and sometimes pharmaceutical help. Lifting weights 3 times a week isn't going to turn you into the Hulk. But you know what it will do, make you stronger. Give you that post-workout glow. Help you carry groceries, pick up your kids, or hoist a suitcase into an overhead bin like it's nothing. I'll never forget the first time I deadlifted my body weight. Not because I suddenly looked different in the mirror, but because I felt like a superhero. That rush of I did that, that's what lifting is really about. It's not about shrinking yourself to fit some outdated ideal. It's about expanding what your body can do. And let's talk about the bulky myth's sneaky cousin, the fear of looking manly. Since when did strength have a gender? Some of the most radiant women I know are the ones who can out-squat their partners. There's nothing more feminine or powerful than owning exactly the body you choose to build. Take my client Mia, a grandmother who started lifting at 65 after her doctor warned her about bone density. She was terrified she'd look like a linebacker. 2 years later, she's hiking Machu Picchu with her grandkids and sending me selfies doing bicep curls with her grocery bags. I thought strong meant hard, she told me. But I've never felt softer or more alive. Hear what I wish someone had told me when I started. Muscles don't happen by accident. They are earned. Every rep is a rebellion against a world that tells women to be small. Every drop of sweat is a love letter to the body that carries you through life. And that bulk you're afraid of, it's not flab. And it's fuel. It's the curve of a bicep that says I can. The shoulders that say try me. The legs that say watch me go. So next time you hesitate before grabbing those weights, remember, you're not signing up for a body you don't want. You're signing up for a life where you're unapologetically capable, where you surprise yourself, where you stand a little taller, not just from the muscles, but from the pride. Now go pick up something heavy. Not to change your body, but to celebrate what it's always been, yours. Let me tell you about the first time I truly embarrassed myself in a gym. Picture this, I was 22, convinced that the only way to get results was to push myself until I looked like I'd just climbed out of a swimming pool. Drenched shirt, beach red face, gasping for air like I'd run a marathon. I wore my sweat like a badge of honor. Then one day, I collapsed off the treadmill and nearly face-planted into a very concerned stranger's protein shake. As he helped me up, he said something that changed everything. You know you don't have to die to get fit, right? Here's the truth we've been sold by fitness influencers and gritty workout montages. That if you're not drowning in sweat, you're not working hard enough. It's nonsense. Sweat isn't some magical fat-burning elixir. It's just your body's air conditioning system. Some people glisten like they're in a skincare ad after a 10K. Others, like my best friend Jake, can do an entire HIIT session and look like they just stepped out of an air-conditioned car. Neither says anything about how effective their workout was. I learned this the hard way when I started training with a yoga instructor who moved like liquid grace. Not a drop of sweat, just slow, intentional stretches that left me trembling. "You're confusing effort with results," she told me as I lay on the mat, humbled. "A tree doesn't sweat to grow. It just roots down and reaches." It turns out the workout that left me feeling like I'd been hit by a truck was better. It was just louder. And let's talk about the hidden cost of the sweat equals success myth. How many people it scares away from moving at all. My mom refused to join a gym for years because she thought her gentle walks didn't count. Then she met a 75-year-old Tai Chi master at the park who told her, "Motion is medicine, not punishment." Now she does sunrise qigong by the lake, no sweat required, and her arthritis hasn't flared up in months. Hear what science actually says. The best workout is the one you'll do consistently, not the one that leaves you crawling to your car. Some of the most transformative sessions of my life looked nothing like what fitness culture glorifies. There was the rehab Pilates class where we spent 20 minutes breathing. I rolled my eyes until I felt my ribcage unlock for the first time in years. The dance party in my living room that burned more joy than calories. The slow, mindful weightlifting session where I focused on form instead of fury and finally stopped injuring myself. I'll never forget watching my friend Sam, a former college athlete, rediscover fitness after an injury. No more brutal CrossFit sessions. Just resistance bands and pool exercises. At first, he mourned the loss of his sweat-drenched shirts. Then he noticed something wild. His chronic back pain vanished. His sleep improved. He could play with his kids without getting winded. "Turns out," he said, "I was working out for my ego, not my life." That's the irony of the sweat obsession. We've been taught to chase exhaustion like it's the prize, when really it's just one possible byproduct. A ballet dancer's lean strength doesn't come from sweat. A surfer's endurance isn't measured in drips. The 90-year-old who still gardens every day, she's not counting her perspiration. She's counting her harvests. So next time you feel guilty for not going hard enough, ask yourself, how do you feel after? Energized, stronger, more alive? That's your real metric. Maybe your perfect workout leaves you drenched. Maybe it leaves you quietly centered. Maybe it's just dancing in your socks before bed. All of it counts. Because fitness isn't about punishing your body into submission. It's about learning its language. The subtle whispers of progress that have nothing to do with your shirt saturation level. The first time you carry all the groceries in one trip. The morning you wake up without stiffness. It's the moment you realize movement isn't something you endure, but a gift you get to unwrap every day. You know that moment when you're staring at a warm, crusty piece of bread. Maybe it's fresh out of the oven, maybe it's your grandma's famous sourdough. And you can feel the guilt creeping in before you even take a bite. Yeah, I've been there too. In fact, I spent years in a toxic on-again, off-again relationship with carbs, breaking up with them every Monday only to binge by Thursday, convinced they were sabotaging my health. Then one day, my Italian nutritionist, yes, an actual Italian, the kind who drinks wine with lunch and lives to 100, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Darling, we've been eating pasta for 2,000 years." The obesity epidemic started with low-fat Snackwells, not Nana's lasagna. Here's the truth we've been starved of: carbs aren't the villain. Restriction is. Let me tell you about my friend Lisa, who did everything right. Quitting carbs cold turkey, existing on grilled chicken and sadness for months. She lost weight, sure, but also her energy, her period, and her ability to think about anything but food. Then one night, she dreamt about toast. Not metaphorically. She literally woke up crying over a fantasy baguette. That's when she realized I wasn't craving carbs. I was craving life. She reintroduced rice, fruit, even the occasional cookie. And guess what? Her metabolism woke back up, her workouts improved, and she maintained her weight effortlessly. Why? Because her body finally trusted her again. We've been sold this idea that carbs equals sugar equals fat, but that's like saying all water is the ocean. There's a universe between a frosted donut and a sweet potato, between a soda and a bowl of berries. Even dietitians who work with Olympic athletes will tell you, carbs are your brain's premium fuel, your muscles' favorite energy source, your body's most efficient spark plug. The longest living cultures in the world. From Japan's rice eaters to Italy's pasta lovers, aren't low carb. They're slow carb, eating whole, minimally processed foods that nourish instead of spike. I'll never forget the client who came to me terrified of bananas. "They're so sugary," she whispered, like confessing a crime. Meanwhile, she was stress-eating cheese cubes by the handful because her low-carb diet left her ravenous. When she finally let herself eat that banana, she cried. "I forgot food could taste this good without guilt." 2 months later, her digestion improved, her skin cleared up, and a plot twist, she lost the stubborn weight she'd been fighting. Not because bananas are magic, but because her body stopped panicking and started thriving. And let's talk about the emotional cost of carb phobia. How many birthdays have you spent pretending you don't want cake? How many dinners out became forensic investigations of the menu? My rock bottom was sitting at Thanksgiving, pushing stuffing around my plate while my aunt said, "You're no fun anymore." She was right. I'd turned food into math problems when it was meant to be memories. The cinnamon rolls your dad made on Sundays, the noodles that taste like home, the shared ice cream cone on a first date. Hear what the research actually shows. People who maintain weight loss long-term don't ban food groups. They find balance. They eat carbs with protein, fiber, and fat to stay full. They enjoy treats without turning them into trophies or landmines. Most importantly, they don't let guilt sit at the table. So next time you're tempted to declare carbs public enemy no. 1. Ask yourself who profits from this fear. Spoiler, the $200 billion diet industry. Then grab that potato, that apple, that perfect bite of fresh bread, and savor it without apology. Your body isn't a spreadsheet. It's a living, breathing thing that deserves to be fed and loved. You ever meet one of those people who brag about spending 3 hours a day in the gym like it's a badge of honor? Like if they're not collapsing onto the gym floor in a puddle of sweat, they're somehow failing? Yeah, I used to be that person. I drag myself to the gym after work, exhausted but determined, convinced that if I just pushed harder, stayed longer, did more, I'd finally get the results I wanted. Spoiler alert, all I got was injured. So let me tell you about my wake-up call. A few years ago, I was training for a half marathon while also trying to build muscle. Because apparently, I thought I was a Marvel superhero. I was clocking in 2-a-days, running in the morning and lifting at night, fueled by protein shakes and sheer stubbornness. Then one day, my body said nope. I woke up with a knee so swollen I couldn't walk, and a fatigue so deep even coffee couldn't touch it. My doctor looked at me like I was a cautionary tale and said, "You're not overtraining for fitness. You're undertraining for recovery." That's when it hit me. I'd been treating my body like a machine. Input more effort, output better results. But bodies don't work like that. They are more like gardens. You can't just keep planting seeds non-stop and expect a harvest. You need to water them, let them rest in the sun, give them time to grow. Take my friend Jake, a former college athlete who believed the only way to stay in shape was to go hard every single day. He'd lift heavy, run sprints, and then punish himself with extra cardio if he dared to eat a slice of pizza. He was shredded, sure, but also constantly sick, irritable, and, as he later admitted, miserable. Then he tore his rotator cuff, and his forced time off changed everything. I was terrified I'd lose all my progress, he told me. But when he came back after 6 weeks of rest, he was stronger. His lifts improved, his energy skyrocketed, and for the first time in years, he actually enjoyed working out. It turns out, he laughed, I wasn't getting better in spite of rest. I was getting better because of it. Here's the truth no one tells you in those gritty workout montages. Progress happens outside the gym. When you lift weights, you're not building muscle. You're breaking it down. It's during rest, sleep, and that lazy Sunday on the couch that your body repairs itself and comes back stronger. More gym time doesn't mean better results. Better recovery does. I think about my client Maria, a busy mom who used to stress over squeezing in hour-long workouts. When she switched to 30-minute focus sessions with proper intensity and actually prioritized sleep, she lost more fat, gained more strength, and had energy left over for her kids. I thought I had to choose between being fit and being present, she said. But the less time I wasted at the gym, the more alive I felt everywhere else. And let's talk about the mental toll of the more is better myth. The guilt when you miss a workout. The panic when life gets busy. The way we've turned fitness into a punishment instead of a celebration. I'll never forget the day I canceled a gym session to have lunch with a friend I hadn't seen in years. As I sat there initially riddled with guilt, I realized something. 10 years from now, I wouldn't remember that skipped workout. But I would remember the way we laughed until our stomachs hurt. That's the irony of fitness culture today. We're working out to live longer, but missing the life we're supposedly extending. The best shape of my life didn't come from marathon gym sessions. It came from enjoying movement. Hikes with friends. Dance parties in my kitchen. A strength training that left me energized, not wrecked. So if you're stuck in the more is better trap, try this. For 1 week, cut your gym time in half. But double your intention. Move with purpose. Rest without guilt. Watch how your body responds when you stop treating it like a project and start treating it like a partner. Because fitness isn't a prison sentence. It's a love letter to your body. And love shouldn't leave you exhausted. Let me tell you about the day I realized exercise wasn't just about looking good. It was about living good. I was 27, stuck in a job I hated, surviving on takeout and caffeine, feeling like a deflated balloon version of myself. One rainy Tuesday, my best friend dragged me to a beginner's dance class. I went kicking and complaining, convinced I'd embarrass myself. But somewhere between the terrible rhythm and the uncontrollable laughter, something clicked. For the first time in months, I wasn't overthinking my inbox or my debt or my dadding life. I was just alive. Sweaty, uncoordinated, but gloriously present. That's when I understood exercise isn't a punishment for what we ate or a chore to check off. It's a daily rebellion against feeling stuck in our own lives. Think about the last time you felt truly unstoppable. Maybe it was hiking to a viewpoint where the world stretched out before you. Maybe it was the rush of nailing a push-up for the first time or the quiet pride of choosing the stairs over the elevator. That feeling, that's your body whispering, this is what I was made for. Not for shrinking, not for scrolling, but for moving. For testing limits and surprising you with what it can do. I'll never forget my client David, who started walking just 10 minutes a day after his heart scare. At first, he'd shuffle to the mailbox and back, winded. But 6 months later, he sent me a photo from the Grand Canyon rim, grinning under a sunrise. Doc said I added years to my life, he wrote. But really, I added life to my years. That's the magic they don't put on fitness ads. Exercise isn't just about adding days to your lifespan. It's about adding spark to your days. And here's the part no one talks about. Exercise is the world's most underrated antidepressant. When my sister was drowning in postpartum depression, the thing that pulled her back wasn't just therapy, though that helped, but the daily walks with her baby strapped to her chest. Out there, moving forward, I remembered I still could, she told me. Science backs this up. Every time you move, your brain showers you with feel-good chemicals, literally washing away stress like an internal car wash for your soul. But let's be real. I know starting is hard. I've been the person who wore workout clothes to the grocery store just to feel like I'd done something active. Who quit more routines than I can count. Who felt too out of shape to even begin. What changed? I stopped chasing fitness and started chasing feeling better. Some days that meant yoga. Others, it was angrily punching a boxing bag. Once, it was literally just dancing in socks to Spice Girls in my living room. Don't knock it till you try it. Hear what I wish someone had told me years ago: movement is your birthright. You don't need a gym membership or expensive gear. Your ancestors didn't have Pelotons. They had hills to climb, water to carry, crops to tend. Your body doesn't care if you're doing CrossFit or gardening or playing tag with your kids. It just craves to be used, to feel blood pumping and muscles engaging and lungs filling deeply. So tomorrow, do this, move in a way that makes you feel like you. Not like someone's before picture. Not like you're earning your dinner. But like you're celebrating the incredible fact that you get to inhabit this body, with all its quirks and capabilities. Because years from now, you won't remember the size of your jeans. But you'll remember the hikes that took your breath away, the dances that made you laugh, the moments your strength surprised you. Your future self is watching right now, crossing their fingers, hoping you'll give them the gift of movement. Not for a smaller body, but for a bigger life. Let's make them proud. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.